What's up, everybody? Today we are hanging out right here in Tempe, Arizona, checking out a property that I lent earnest money on and actually putting boots on the ground for probably one of the first times that I've ever done that as far as actually lending on a deal. So I wanted to actually show you guys this property and talk to you about some of the most frequently asked questions that I get when it comes to where these deals come from, why people might need you to lend on their earnest money or other things similar, and just check out the property for the first time because I've never seen it. So we're gonna go ahead and jump inside here. This is a property that my good friend Gage Garber is buying as his primary residence, which is really cool. And I must say, it's a very nice house, very new looking in here. So yeah, let's break down some of the common questions, go over here where we got more light. I don't think we have electricity rocking in this house yet, so we'll jump over here. But I've got some questions that people are gonna be asking all the time, right? That you guys are asking all the time about these deals. And so it's really cool to actually get to be here in person and show you with boots on the ground what a deal actually looks like. And after this, we'll get to talk with Gage as well about why he used me to lend on this deal, so that I'm not just the dude behind the camera telling you guys this is how it works, and you can actually meet the person that I worked with on this deal in person on the video. So we'll jump to that. But first, I wanna get to just some of the basic questions, right? The basic things that you guys are asking. And so for a simple breakdown of the deal details here, this deal required $5,000 of earnest money, right? Or a $5,000 earnest money deposit. That's what Gage needed to actually hold the house, right? To get the right to buy this house. So that $5,000 is what he requested from me. Now, when I lent that $5,000, the expectation is that when Gage closed on the house, that $5,000 would get paid back to me. And in addition, I would get paid an additional $2,000 on top of that. So the $5,000 I lent, plus a $2,000 return, aka $7,000 total. But the craziest part about this deal is that I made $2,000 and the wholesaler, who spent months talking with his agent, following up with them, getting the contract signed, structuring the deal, and selling it to Gage, made half of what I made, which is wild. I've never seen that happen before, right? So the wholesaler made $1,000 for literally months worth of work. I made $2,000 as the lender on this deal for about 5 minutes of work, which is mind-boggling to think about, right? But I want to talk to you guys about why it worked out in this certain scenario to be what it ended up being like that. So I want to actually take the time to set the camera down, and Gage and I are going to talk about the deal itself and why he used me, again, so that you guys can understand a little bit more behind the scenes of how this lending stuff actually works. All right, guys, so I am joined here with the man himself, Gage Garber, I think making his first appearance on my YouTube channel. We're checking out the house that he just bought for his primary. So I wanted to ask him some of the questions that you guys are asking me all the time, starting it off with by far one of the most commonly asked questions, which is, why the heck did you have me lend them earnest money for this deal and not just do it yourself?
Yeah, so I'm currently running a startup business, and $5,000 for that business can do a lot for us. So I had a lot more benefit of a return if I put that into my business than I have it sitting in escrow for a whole month. So I didn't want to use my own money for that reason and for time. So I was being pressured by the wholesaler to fund the EMD. I was super busy that day. I didn't want to use my own. I don't want to use my own money, so I just called Ryan. I was like, "Hey Ryan, I have this deal that I need funded. I need it funded quick. This guy is on my tail about it. Do you mind doing it?" So he sent me over the form, filled that out. I gave the wire instructions, and then within 10 minutes he had it wired. So he's really quick at it. I knew that he would be quick at it, and yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it because it happened so fast.
Yeah, and I mean, every scenario is different, right? Every scenario is different here. So with Gage, there's a couple things to consider, right? I tell you guys all the time about the fact that we lend for two different types of people usually, right? We got the buyers and the wholesalers. Wholesalers are the people I lend for, I'd say, the most, but obviously this scenario is different, right? Gage is the buyer in this scenario. So Gage, how were you funding? I think it was about $25,000 to enter to buy this house, right? So how were you funding that?
So I also use other people's money in that sense too. There's a lot, like I said, that goes into the business that I'm currently running, and we're always hiring, we're always updating stuff, and that costs money. And I didn't want to use that the money that I had, so I borrowed that money as well. So I'm paying $250 a month on that, and that's saving me a lot of money and time in the long run because I can now use my $25,000 to put inside my business and grow that and get a potentially much higher return on that $25,000 than just having it sit here in this property.
Yeah. I mean, because for the most part, any of us and most of you guys watching this, you just want the highest return on your money, right? Whatever the highest return is that you can get on the money that you've worked hard for and saved or whatever it is, that's what you want to do, right? And so, not to get too nerdy, but let's talk numbers here for Gage. So, he raised that $25,000 at 12% interest, right? So,
that's
12% interest per year, right? And if you break that down per month, that equals 1% a month, right? Which would be $250. So on this deal, like I already said, I lent $5,000. He paid me $7,000 back. So that addition, right, because the $5,000 being paid back was going to be paid either way. So he paid an extra $2,000 to use me as his lender, right, and get it done quickly, get the deal locked up before somebody else came in and took it, all that stuff. When you break it down, that $2,000 that he paid me is going to cost him an additional $20 a month. That's it. That's all it costs him, right? Because he's raising that money from a private money lender. So his original payment to his private money lender would have been $230 a month, but because he used me, it's $250 a month. So that simple $20, yeah, it's a pretty good return for me, and it's not a crazy hit on him. Like it's basically not noticeable, $20 a month difference. And so that's why it makes so much sense when you're a buyer bringing in a private money lender, is that it's not like a life-altering amount of money, even though it is a 40% return, right, that I charged on this property. So a pretty large return for partnering with him. But in the long run, it's not really going to have a huge effect on you.
Right. And like we like to say, that's only 2 cheeseburgers a month that I'm having to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and he was getting fat anyway, so I did him a favor there. But yeah, so that's kind of, like I said, one of the most commonly asked questions that I get is, why would somebody actually do it? And is Gage like everybody else? No. Right? And nobody else is either. Like every single scenario is different, right? Gage is somebody starting up a business, using that capital in other ways, also trying to go out and invest and buy properties. He's got private money lenders. Like, you can't add all of those Legos together and get the same person every time. Like, you are different than every other person I lend for, because every story is slightly different. So don't take this as the only reason a buyer would ask for money, right? But this is, I'd say, a somewhat common scenario for me when I lend for buyers, is people that are going to go raise private money, because Gage had to go raise $25,000, and it took him a couple weeks, right? Which is fine. Like, it's usually, you're gonna have to reach out to some people, you're gonna have to make some connections, you're gonna have to find the right partner to send you 25 grand, and that took him a couple weeks. But guess what? When the wholesaler hit him up about buying this property, he didn't have a couple weeks, he had a couple minutes or a couple hours. And so you have to have somebody not that's willing to lend that entire 25 grand at that point. He just needed somebody that was able to bridge that gap, right? Able to get that earnest money in so that he could lock down the property, and it gives him the peace of mind and the time to now go actually save that money, or find that money rather, from a private money lender. So that's a pretty common scenario for buyers, is to just basically bridge that gap for you guys to go find the money. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. I wanted to keep this one short and sweet and just actually throw some boots on the ground and show you guys what it looks like at an actual property that I lent on, break down a little bit of the questions that you guys are asking all the time. If you haven't already seen it, check out this video somewhere up here about the entire EMD lending process, so you can understand everything that I did on this transaction from start to finish, to be able to get paid and actually take advantage of this situation where everybody can come out a winner. Other than that, I hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.